everyone, Go Rocket Baby here, and today we're here to talk about Bleood's new project, Rascal 51. So before you guys get really sick of me saying Bleood, I'm so used to saying Bleood. Is it Bleood? Is it Blood? Let me know in the comments below because that is something I'm still unsure about it, in all honesty. So Rascal 51 is the second tape this year from Bleood, and it dropped on October 24th, 2025, so not that long ago. Now he dropped this project coming up off the hype of a slew of TikTok trends using his songs. This was mainly the King Pat thing with the black and white filter with the blend emojis over it, tagging Bleood. I'm gonna show it right now. There's actually been a new trend that started after Bleoud's project came out. But before we get into actually talking about the music, let's look at the cover. So, pretty cool cover, you know, sort of gory. He's holding guts in the cover, but it's 2025, so I'm sure you all know the drill by now. This is homage. He's paying homage. Why is he paying homage to? Well, this cover is taking inspiration from the cover of Suicide Season, which is the second album by Bring Me the Horizon. So, not off to the greatest start, but I do have a lot of thoughts about this project. Some good, some bad. This release sees Bleood kind of making his sound a little more palatable versus some of his earlier songs, like Alucard, that were in those TikTok trends. Now these sound a little more comparable to the sound that's in right now, like Chain and people adjacent to him. It's a little crazier, but the Chain comparison specifically makes sense to me because they both have the same manager, White Collar Will. But this new sound that Bleood is leaning into, it puts him more adjacent to the Osama-san Cherry, Too Slimy. That sound right now, this post rage or third generation rage, or I don't even know where we're at anymore. It's at the point where it's barely even rap music anymore, but he is pivoting to that sound, and he is now just straight in the conversation. I think the numbers that this tape has been putting up kind of prove that. Overall, his progression from Mari to Deficit to Blood has been really crazy to watch. So my favorite songs on here are Fuck You Bitch, I Wanna Be Alone, No Guap No Lice, Lesbian Vampire Killers, and BPD. But let's go through the songs one by one. So this project starts off with the song Fuck You Bitch, I Wanna Be Alone, produced by YRSCI. And this guy in specific is all over this tape. Now, as an intro, I do think it serves pretty well. Like, if you listen to the song, you will get a taste for the sound that you're gonna be hearing for the rest of the project. And in that sense, I think it is a pretty good intro. There's also this Rascal thing that keeps repeating over again. There's a lot of vocal chops looping all over this project, but the I'm a Rascal one on this very first song, I think is actually the best usage of it throughout the whole project. Good opener. Now next up is SMD, which is produced by Ivy's, Deshun, and Dazed DXD. This song is pretty much in the same vein as the last song, but there's a couple of good quotables on here, and there's the SMD looping over and over and over. He's rapping SMD with Tia Lee, but it works. I mean, it is the namesake of the song after all. Next up is Charlie Mother. Charlie Mother, sort of more the same, but it is catchy nonetheless. This first 1 to 3, I think it is a solid run. Kind of gets you right in the groove of the tape, and you kind of know what you're getting. Next song, Pink, is Prod Dulio and Fuckum 800s. And this song, it sort of just feels like a song after this album. Like, when you compare it to the last 3 songs, like, it just sounds like a more of that, which is either what you want and what you don't want. But in terms of something distinguishing it, I don't know, I heard the song like 3 times and had a hard time differentiating that from the other songs on here. Now, next up, SO Prod YRSCI is Lesbian Vampire Killers, and this is the big song after the project. Like, it has a double plays of every other song on SoundCloud, and it's also the most streamed song of the project on Spotify. Now, if you're gonna listen to this project, or if you're even thinking about giving this project a chance, I'd say listening to the first song and this one are gonna give you a really good idea of what's going on there, and they're probably some of the best encapsulations of overall sound of the project, you know, because there's some songs, especially the ones that come up right after this, that are sort of outliers, but Lesbian Vampire Killers, it's a cool song. Next track is Sub-Zero, which is produced by Ivy's and One Time. Now, this song, honestly, it's kind of nostalgic in a sense. It sees Bleood using more of his irregular voice, and it reminds me a lot of the Deficile days, which is when I found out about him before all of this crazy stuff happened. Also like how he's talking about bad and bougie hole like Migos, that shit's hard. Now next up is No Guap No Life. This is my favorite song off of the project, personally. The sample here is really well done. It is definitely, by far, the best beat on here. And yet again, it's prod by this YRSCI guy. Now, I'm looking through Genius, and this just appears to be Blood's, like, guy. You know, I thought Blood's guy was Zatru, but I don't know, I haven't seen Zatru around in a minute. I don't know what they're getting up to right now. It's placements on the placements by this guy on the tape. And speaking of which, the next song on here is called Ozzy Trisborn. Yes, you heard me right. Ozzy Trisborn. You know, despite the funny name, it is a good beat. You know, it's over guitar, which saying it's over guitar doesn't really mean all that much, but it does differentiate it a good amount from some of the rest of the production on here. And it's a funny song. And the lead on this is really good too. It's like a lead that goes over the guitar, and I remember liking that a lot. Next up is I Shoot Shotguns Off Ecstasy Pills. You know, first of all, I have to commend the title. This is a pretty good title for a song. You know, it gets you right off the bat. But honestly, Shotguns, it's a cool song. Nothing really special when compared to the rest of the album. Like, it is a song on Rascal 51, but I like the title of the song, so I'll give them that. Next up is BPD. Now, this is definitely more of the sound that I think most people diving into this album, project, mixtape, if they've heard the TikTok songs, this is probably the sound that they were expecting to hear throughout the duration of the album. Like, BPD is a cool little sample at the start about a guy talking about the symptoms of BPD, but this song, it feels like him going for that Alucard sound. Like, this is definitely in the same route as those other super viral songs on TikTok. Like, I'm surprised this isn't the big one off of here, honestly, but maybe it just goes to show how his audience is changing. And not the taste of his audience changing, but the people actually listening to this. Like, I feel like him sort of pivoting to this more Osama-san that sound, like it's definitely a result of that. And the last song on here is Money Blue Like Rem. Now, this song, it sounds like a lot of the other songs on this project, in all honesty, but I think it has Blood doing a lot more actual rapping on here, and it feels like a good closer. My thoughts on this project, I think it's cool. I'm not gonna say it's great, but I'm not gonna go and say it's okay either. I think it's a good project. You know, like, am I gonna come back to the project as a whole? I don't think so, because a lot of it is almost too samey for me. You know, a lot of this project, unless you really squint in your ears, it is noise. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean the listening experience. It is hard to distinguish a lot of these songs apart from one another, but the standout songs really do stand out. I think songs like No Blap Your Life and BPD and Fuck You Bitch I Wanna Be Alone, these are good songs that I actually do see myself coming back to after my initial few listens. So I am feeling a 7.5 for this project by Bleood. Where do I see Bleood going from here? I don't know. I honestly am not 100% sure. I could see him sort of continuing down this sound. And I think he does have a sort of advantage in this niche of all these sounds going on right now because, you know, Osama-san and Che, you can tell they're really cosplaying a lot of this shit. Like, this guy Bleood, he is, you know, he was on those gore sites. He's actually there. He's actually about a lot of the shit that he raps about. You know, maybe not killing people per se, but indulging in the viewing of which and all this stuff. And he really, really leans even further into the image. He has the image down. You know, he's always looking like somebody just like hacked his jaw off, and he's like bleeding from God knows where, and he has like those shoes with the teeth on, and this and that. I could see this pivot continuing to work really well for him. So I'll be keeping a sort of close eye on where Blood goes. You know, hopefully he drops another cool project, and then we can review it all over again. But until then, I wish him the best. And on that note, I hope all of you guys have a good day. Bye bye.